What's the difference? Franchise asset versus stock sale in succession. Have you ever wondered what happens when a franchise owner decides to pass the torch? The choice between a franchise asset sale and a stock sale can significantly impact the future of the business. Let's break down what each option means and how they differ in the context of succession planning, franchise growth and expansion, and exit strategies. In a franchise asset sale, the buyer purchases specific assets of the franchise. This can include equipment, inventory, customer lists, and sometimes even contracts. The seller, however, retains the liabilities. This means the buyer can choose which assets to acquire and avoid any unwanted debts or legal obligations. But there is a catch. The buyer often needs to transfer or renegotiate contracts, licenses, and permits, which can complicate the transition. Employees usually do not automatically transfer over and must be rehired under new agreements, which can impact their benefits and seniority. Asset sales are quite common in small business transitions where buyers want to limit their risk exposure. From a tax perspective, buyers benefit from a step-up in asset basis, which allows for increased depreciation and potential tax savings. On the flip side, sellers may face higher tax rates on the proceeds because the sale is treated as ordinary income or a mix of ordinary and capital gains depending on the assets sold. Now let's talk about stock sales. In this scenario, the buyer purchases the ownership shares of the franchise company itself. This means they acquire all assets, liabilities, contracts, and obligations as a whole. The advantage here is that the operational transition is much smoother. Contracts and licenses generally remain intact, and employees continue under the same entity, preserving their benefits and seniority. Stock sales are more common with corporations or franchises structured as corporations or limited liability companies. Sellers typically prefer stock sales because the proceeds are taxed at capital gains rates, which often results in lower tax liabilities. However, buyers assume all known and unknown liabilities, including potential lawsuits or debts, which increases their risk. Negotiations can be more complex due to the need for thorough due diligence. If there are multiple shareholders, obtaining approval can complicate the process even further. When it comes to franchise succession planning, these differences are vital. An asset sale allows the incoming franchise owner to acquire the business without inheriting past liabilities, which can be appealing for risk management. However, it may disrupt business continuity due to the need for contract renegotiations and employee rehiring. A stock sale, on the other hand, preserves the franchise's operational structure and relationships, making for a smoother handover, but it transfers all liabilities and obligations to the buyer. Practical considerations for franchise owners include evaluating the franchise agreement and franchisor approval requirements. Franchisors often have specific rules about ownership, transfers that may influence whether an asset or stock sale is feasible. Assessing tax consequences for both the seller and buyer is also essential to optimize financial outcomes. Additionally, considering the impact on employees and ongoing contracts is crucial for maintaining business stability. Conducting thorough due diligence to understand liabilities and obligations in stock sales is necessary. Lastly, planning the transaction structure should align with long-term franchise growth and exit strategies. The choice between an asset sale and a stock sale in franchise succession is all about balancing risk, tax implications, business continuity, and franchisor requirements. Buyers looking to limit liability and acquire selective assets may lean towards asset sales, while sellers and buyers aiming for a seamless transfer of the entire business entity often prefer stock sales.